What if I told you that some of the biggest, most cutting-edge ideas in modern science aren't actually that modern? Today, we're going to go on a pretty incredible journey, connecting the dots between the cosmic wisdom found in ancient Indian texts and some of today's most mind-blowing discoveries.
Just let that sink in for a second. We're talking about ancient thinkers thousands of years ago who had insights into the cosmos that sound, well, a lot like what our most advanced physics is just now figuring out. This isn't science fiction. These are ideas that are startlingly predictive.
All right, so let's kick things off with part 1, mapping the infinite cosmos. We're going to start at the very beginning, digging into these ancient ideas about creation, time, and space itself.
So check this out. This comes from the Nasadiya Sukta, or the Hymn of Creation, from the Rig Veda, one of the oldest texts in the world. And what's so wild about it is the kind of question it's asking. It isn't just spinning a creation myth. It's trying to wrap its head around a state before anything existed, before nothingness even. I mean, how incredibly abstract and philosophical is that?
And this is where it gets really, really interesting, that ancient philosophical question. Well, it sounds a whole lot like one of the biggest puzzles in modern cosmology, doesn't it? This idea of a state before existence, before space and time, is just uncannily similar to our concept of the singularity, that tiny, infinitely dense point where scientists believe the Big Bang kicked everything off.
Okay, just look at this number for a moment. 4.32 billion years. Seriously, let that sink in. This figure isn't a modern calculation. It comes from ancient Hindu Puranic texts, and it represents what they called a single day of Brahma. And get this, that's just one cycle in a cosmic calendar that's way, way bigger.
And this chart really puts it all into perspective. I mean, look at that. The age of Earth, which we've figured out with all our modern tech, is about 4.54 billion years. And right next to it, this ancient day of Brahma at 4.32 billion years. It's just staggering. While most ancient cultures were thinking in hundreds or thousands of years, these thinkers were conceptualizing time on a cosmic scale, getting remarkably close to our own scientific estimates.
So, as if thinking in billions of years wasn't enough, this idea from the Vishnu Purana just completely blows the doors off. It basically says, you think this universe is the whole show? Think again. The idea here is that our entire universe, well, it's just one of countless others out there.
And what is that? I mean, that's basically the multiverse theory, right? One of the most out there, cutting-edge ideas in modern physics today, the concept that our reality is just one tiny bubble in a huge cosmic foam of other universes. It's just, wow.
Okay, moving on to part 2, decoding universal laws. So, we've looked at the massive scale of the cosmos. Now let's zoom right in and look at the fundamental rules and tiny particles that actually make it all work.
So how accurately do you think someone could calculate the speed of light way back in the 5th century? Well, a text called the Surya Siddhanta gives us a pretty fascinating answer. It lays out this calculation using their own ancient units for distance and time, and when you convert them to units we use today, well, the result is astounding.
And the result is, well, it's absolutely breathtaking. Their ancient calculation works out to roughly 186,000 miles per second. The actual modern value for the speed of light is 186,282 miles per second. That is an accuracy of over 99.8%. Without lasers, without atomic clocks, that's just a stunning, stunning achievement. And sticking with that same time period, you've got the astronomer Aryabhata. This timeline lays it out perfectly. In 476 CE, he's proposing that the Earth spins on its axis and orbits the Sun. That's a heliocentric model, folks, and it was over 1,000 years before Copernicus brought that same idea to the Western world.
Okay, so we've gone big, now let's go incredibly small. We often give the ancient Greeks credit for coming up with atomic theory, right? But centuries before them, an Indian philosopher named Kanada was proposing that all matter is made up of these indivisible particles he called paramanu. In other words, atoms. It shows this incredibly deep, foundational understanding that the world around us is built from these tiny, fundamental blocks.
All right, so we've explored the sheer vastness of space and the intricate laws that run it. For this final part, we're going to turn the lens inward for what might just be the most profound connection of them all, the link between the universe and our own consciousness.
And it all kind of hinges on this one short but incredibly powerful Sanskrit phrase from the Upanishads. These are ancient texts that form the philosophical backbone of Hinduism. And this phrase is the key to seeing our place in the cosmos in a totally new light.
So what does it actually mean? Tat Dvam Asi translates to you are that. It's this profound statement that you, your individual self, your consciousness are not actually separate from the universe. You are the universe. Your very being is fundamentally connected to the fabric of all reality.
Now, this ancient philosophical idea has this strange, powerful echo in modern quantum mechanics. Think about the observer effect. It's this bizarre principle that shows the very act of observing a quantum system can actually change what it does. It hints that consciousness isn't just some passive bystander watching the show. It's somehow woven right into the fabric of the cosmos.
So, we've just jumped across thousands of years of human thought. What are we supposed to make of all these crazy parallels? What's the big takeaway here?
Look, this isn't about a few lucky guesses or coincidences. What this really points to is a hugely sophisticated intellectual tradition that blended deep philosophy, math, and keen observation all together. It's all part of this timeless, universal human drive to figure out who we are and what our place is in this incredible universe.
And that really just leaves us with one last big question. If these incredible ideas were understood in some form so long ago, what other profound wisdom, what other hidden truths are just sitting there in ancient texts, waiting for our modern science to finally catch up?